Hey guys, today I just wanted to have a quick chat about getting back on track. Holiday season is over, or basically over. The festive season is coming to an end, and everyone is starting to think about getting back on track or undoing some of the damage that potentially we did over the holiday season. And probably the first thing that we need to think about doing is not beating ourselves up over that, just remembering that it was a decision that you made, a conscious choice. You guys had the option, and that's the decisions that you took to spend time with family and friends, not stress about maybe so much about your health and fitness related goals over that period. And that's completely fine. That's not wrong whatsoever. What is wrong is beating ourselves up over it and giving ourselves a hard time. So accept that happened, move on, and then if we are feeling like it's time to get back on track, there's a few sort of easy things that we can do to help us ease our way back into it, and make it feel like we kick off in the right direction while we've still got that motivation levels nice and high. And number one on the list, I would say, is a quote: "What gets measured gets managed," and that rings true for our health and fitness goals. So probably for most of us after that Christmas period, we're thinking that we want to potentially lose some weight, lose some of those excess kilos. So two really good things to try and track for those goals is going to be our steps, firstly. So we probably all heard it before that we want to try and get those 10,000 steps in, and that is an awesome benchmark. And it's not even specifically like there's any magic about that 10,000 number. All it is a decent figure that is a reasonable amount of steps to get in during the day. 10,000, I guess, has got a bit of a ring to it, and it's just to hold us accountable to a target to work towards, so that we wake up in the morning with a goal, something to try and hit each day. And that should be something that we get done outside of our training. So we talk about that, or we think about that as our NEAT almost, or at least part of it, just how many steps you get going through your day to day, and then we can supplement that with extra steps. Say if it gets a bit later in the afternoon and we looking like not making it, we hold ourselves accountable to taking ourselves on that nice walk to get those steps in. And I think people underestimate the benefits of that low intensity just aerobic exercise of walking. So we all get caught up with high intensity work, which is good and has its place if you're following a well-structured program, like most of us are, but don't underestimate the benefits of just getting that walk in. And the second thing that I'd say to track, especially if you have weight loss goals, is our calories. And I know some people turn their nose up at that, but if you are serious about hitting your goals, especially if it's those weight loss goals, if we don't know what we're eating, we're going to have a very hard time. And not only do we want to make sure we're eating in that calorie deficit, so we're consuming less calories or less energy than we're using, either one of two ways. That's going to be generally eating less or expending more, so more exercise, less food. But we want to try and balance that. We want to get away with eating as much food as we possibly can while losing weight or working towards that goal. So we don't want to be in starvation mode, for lack of a better phrase, not a real thing, but well, arguably it could be. But anyway, we don't want to be a shit human, all hangry, tired, no energy, and not many places to move when our fat loss does eventually stall. So if we are tracking that, then that is going to help us move in the right direction. And a good place to start, if you've got no idea, send me a message. I can help you work out your TDEE, or your total daily energy expenditure, which is going to be a nice benchmark to start from and give you a nice starting point that we can go from and track from there and see how we go. So what gets measured gets managed. That's the first one. Second one, I think, is accountability, and we just mentioned that when we were talking about hitting our 10,000 steps. It's a nice target to keep us accountable, but we also want to have accountability to help keep us motivated toward our goals. So there's a quote up in our gym at the moment, and it actually says, if something is important enough to you, or when it is important enough to you, you'll find out a way. And I think that rings true for most of us. We can procrastinate a bit about it and sort of not get there, but at the end of the day, it's probably just because it might not really be our goal, or if it is our goal, it's not actually really that important to us. So if it's important to you, you'll find a way, and what will help you with that motivation is accountability, and that can come from awesome different external sources, and one of those ways is to be financially invested, and or have some skin in the game. So essentially we're looking at considering hiring a coach, entering into a nutrition plan, a good one, a reputable one, and not some 30-day challenge that's going to leave you in a worse state than when you started. A training plan, a gym, any one of those things is going to potentially help you motivate it, but it requires you to become financially invested in the process. So once we've got that skin in the game, we're more likely to carry through with our goals or our vision. And then the second one is have an accountability partner, and that could be a training partner, that could be a friend that you train with, sort of the same thing, but someone that you could bring along for the journey with potentially similar goals, and that you can celebrate those small wins along the way. So trying to do it with somebody else or as part of a community is going to make your life so much easier and more motivating, especially through those more challenging times, which, as we know, achieving anything good, there will be challenging times. The third one, guys, is just patience. So trying to be consistent and adhere to the process and be patient. I know we bang on about it a lot, but that really is the secret. If there was a secret, that would be it. So too often we get caught up looking at everybody's their end goal, where they're at right now, and we don't really see behind the scenes as to the commitment that is being put in for whatever that goal, whether it be body composition, performance related, financial, whatever it is, that goal. We're too busy just looking at the end result, and we don't actually see the work that's gone into the process and see how much patience and persistence and consistency and adherence was required to get there. So if you're not hitting those calorie targets and getting those steps in for 90 days, for example, then after that, if we're still not getting results, then maybe we're going to look and find out what's wrong, what's happening. But if we try and adhere to it to a day or a week, or during the week, and then the weekends roll around and we fall off the wagon, things like that, all that's going to happen is we're just not going to get anywhere. We're just going to punish ourselves. It's just going to make it hard for ourselves, and then we're going to lose motivation, get disappointed, and give up potentially. So what we need to try and do is get ourselves in a mindset that it's not a race, and progress over perfection. So we all know probably exactly what we should be doing. In theory, it all sounds great, but if it's not realistic for you, then it's never going to happen. And we have to be honest with ourselves about that. And we have to pick the one thing to start with. It might just be one thing, and maybe just drink a little bit more water each day, for example. We have to just pick that one thing that you're willing to do day in, day out for a period of time, and start stacking habits, stacking wins, being patient. So just to summarize quickly for our goals, to help you stay on track, make it a little bit easier leading into this new period of back to business, we're going to potentially look at patience, accountability. What gets measured gets managed.